Yeah, good morning all. Once again, sorry, some delay due to this some technical issue. So yesterday I told you about the course introduction, that is full stack Python web development. Okay, so today we will discuss some of the concepts of the programming languages. And basically, as I told you, this is the total client that is web application framework. So it looks like when you see this diagram. So here a user enters some data on a web browser, that is called a front end. So to develop any front end user interfaces, so we have to use HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Okay, HTML is to display some titles, headers, okay, and CSS is to apply some formatting on the titles or the applying some styles on the images like that. So these two together will be used to develop the front end interface. Okay, so once we enter any data, that will go to the web server. So in the back end, it is called a back end and this is called a front end. So this is a general web application architecture. Okay. So whenever we request from the web browser, it goes to the web server and it checks whether you have whether your requested page is available in the server or not. So then if it is there, it is responding back to the user through this front end only. So in this back end, we are going to write some business logic on the applications like using Python language. So we have chosen this Python language. Why? Because Python is a popular language and it is also very easy to learn when compared to the other high level languages like Java, C++ and C sharp. This Python is very easy to learn. It is like a English like language that we will see some examples also. And in this web, the backend, we have a web server. Within this, we have a file system. So all these data and the files will be stored in this backend server. So in this backend, we have a database. This database contains all the data which is belonging to the web application. Okay, so the databases may be MySQL or PostgreSQL or MariaDB or MongoDB. Depends on our application requirement. We will be using the database. Okay, so this is the overall web application architecture. You need to remember this one. So this is all happening through internet only. Without internet, we can't do anything. It's not a standard application. This is not a standalone application. This is a web application. So to develop both the front end and back end application like together. So this is called a full stack developer's task. Okay. So as I told you yesterday, here, a Python full stack developer is a software professional who specializes in developing applications using the Python language as well as from some of the web application development tools like user interface tools like HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. Okay, and backend development involves building a server-side logic of a web application. Okay, so it may contains a Python and the Python related Django is a web backend web framework and SQL. So this all together is called a full stack developer, which is having he has to work both on front end and back end. He has to work a full stack developer has to work on both front end and back end. backend web application, right? And this gives you a major asset to the company. So why you become a Python full stack developer? There are many reasons. As I told you, there is a high demand in the market. Okay, the demand of Python full stack developers is very high nowadays, and is expected to continue growing in the future also. So this is one reason. The second thing is this is highly paid salary. Like you will get high salary also. Python full stack developers earn a high salary, which is comparable with other high paid tech jobs. Okay, highly paid tech jobs, and it is a very flexible job. Flexibility is there. Okay, so these are the reasons. These are the reasons why you become a Python full stack developer. Okay, so you have a high demand in the market, and you will be paid high salary, and it's a you have a flexibility, like to work on variety of projects. It may be containing a small startups to the large organizations also. So you have a flexibility to work on any organization. So these are the reasons to become a Python full stack developer. And how to become a full stack developer? As I told you yesterday, you have to learn both front end and back end tools to design the web application, to develop the web application. So first step is to learn the Python. You have to learn Python. Okay. Okay, and then you have to learn the front end development. Generally, what others will teach first, they will teach the front end development because it is very easy, right? HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these are very easy to learn. But whereas here we need to concentrate more on Python. Why? Because this is used in the back end, in the framework as well. Django also, in Django also we use this Python. So completely Django is a backend framework, web application framework, that is developed by using Python. So you need to concentrate more on Python. Okay, that's why in our course curriculum, we will start learning Python first in the beginning. Then we will move on to the front end development. So first we will cover the basic, that is core Python as well as advanced Python. Then we will move on to the front end development tools. Okay, and then we will learn the backend programming using the Django framework, and also backend database applications using SQL language. Okay, so this is how you become a full stack Python developer. Okay, now coming to second. And now coming to the next topic will be uh, introduction to languages. Okay, what is a language? That means what is a programming language? Okay, and types of languages, and introduction to translators, that is compiler and interpreter. Okay, and what is a scripting language, and types of scripting languages, and then what is the difference between programming language and scripting languages. Okay, and then, and what is a programming paradigm? Okay, and there are basically two types of paradigms, that is procedural oriented programming language, procedural programming, and then the second one is object oriented programming. So these concepts we will discuss today. Okay, what is the language? So basically a normal language means which is to understand to a mission readable language, like a language is nothing but a mediator between a user and the mission, user and the mission system, that means the computer. Okay, and the computer provides a set of instructions are called a language. A computer provides us the language provides us set of instructions are used to communicate with the computer. Okay, so these languages provides us the set of instructions are nothing but the statements or the program that is used to communicate with the computer. That is the language. Okay, language is software which provides us the set of instructions developing a software. Okay, there are two types of language. As I told you here, yesterday also I told you there are two types of languages. That is, types of languages are, first one is low level programming language. Okay, second one is high level programming language. Okay, so here a programming language understood by the computer, that is called a low level language. Like it is architecture mission dependent languages. See, in older days we used to have an assembly language, that is called a mission language. Okay, so it contains some set of instructions. Suppose if you want to move one number to other variable, we have to use the move command. Okay, so that is called an assembly language. So examples of these low level languages are here: assembly language. Okay, and these mission languages are nothing but this mission language, it only understand by the only mission dependent language. Suppose here we have some instruction like suppose if you want to, there are some, see, only computers can understand only zeros and ones, binary language, you know that. So computers can understand only binary language, that is zeros and ones. Okay, here, this assembly language is a type of language that has some mnemonics or language instructions. Suppose here 10101111, this is one binary number. If we want to move this number to a register, so we have to use command like move command. This is one instruction. Like again, after moving that, if you want to load it, first of all we will load and then move it. So first load it. This is one instruction. This is another instruction. And if you want to add is one instruction. These are called a set of instructions that is understandable by only mission, that is mission dependent language. So this can be used in 8086 processors and 8085 processor and 80 later on 80286 missions. Okay, so these are different types of hardware architectures. Okay. Now this assembly language contains some set of instructions like load, move, add, subtract, sub. All these are type of instructions which only this machine can understand. Users cannot understand easily. That is called a low level language. But whereas when coming to the high level language, it is like an English language which contains some like some conditional statements, if condition, while loop condition, for loop condition. These can be understood by the humans also easily. So that is called the high level language. So to translate these low level mission instructions, these load, move, add, these instructions, they need an assembler. So what is an assembler? Assembler is a translator that converts the instructions from assembly language to the machine language. So this is actually a assembly language. To convert this into machine language, we need an assembler. So assembler is used to translate or to convert these instructions into machine language. That is called an assembler. Okay. So here, what is the major disadvantage of these low-level language is here, this can be understood only by the machines. That is called mission-dependent language. But whereas when coming to the high-level languages, okay, these are very simple, like an English language. And these languages are hardware independent. These are simple and easy to learn, and also these are written in English language, and these languages are independent or portable. Portable means here once you write a program in this high level language, that can be ported, or we can move that program into other machine easily. But whereas in low level languages it is difficult. Only that is mission dependent language. But whereas this high level languages, once you write and compile the program, that will be translated into exe file that you can take into other machines also. It may be another operating system also. What is an operating system? Operating system is nothing but what we are seeing here. This is here, mouse is moving here. This is a Windows operating system. Then we click here, it is showing some icons here. And when we are opening one program here, it is opening one notepad. So this is an interface to interact with the machine computer. This is called the operating system. So these high level language programs can be easily ported to other operating systems also easily. That means once you write a program in Windows operating system, that can easily you can move into Linux or the other Mac systems also easily. So that is how the advantage of these high level languages. Okay, so the examples of these languages are like C language, C++ language, and Java, Python, okay, Ruby. All these are high-level languages. Like earlier days, we use Fortran, formula translation, COBOL. All these are high-level languages. Okay, okay. So these are the examples of high-level languages. Okay, and to convert these language instructions to mission understandable language is called, there are two types of translators. See, two to translate in instruction. Suppose if you are talking English లో మాట్లాడుతాను అనుకోండి, ఆ ఎదుటి వ్యక్తికి ఆ ఇంగ్లీష్ రాకపోతే మధ్యలో ఒక ట్రాన్స్లేటర్ కావాలి. సో అలాగే ఇక్కడ మనకి ఈ హై లెవెల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ లో రాసిన ప్రోగ్రాము మన ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ ని ఏం చేస్తుందంటే ఈ ట్రాన్స్లేటర్స్ ఏం చేస్తాయంటే కన్వర్ట్ చేస్తాయి మిషన్ అండర్స్టాండబుల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ లోకి. బికాస్ మిషన్ కెన్ అండర్స్టాండ్ ఓన్లీ zeros and ones. Binary language can understand, right? So these translators are two types again. That is, one is interpreter and the second one is compilers. Okay. Now we'll see what is an interpreter and what is a compiler. See, these translators this translator is nothing but a software. It is a software which converts instructions of one language to another language. Okay, this is called a translator. And there are two types of translators, that is interpreter and compiler. Interpreter, what is the difference between interpreter and compiler? Interpreter is a translator which translates and executes instructions line by line. Suppose if you write a program like input some number, enter a number. Okay. And then I is equal to or n is equal to enter a number. This is one instruction, right? Now I wanted to accept one number, then I wanted to store it, already stored in this n, and then let us say this is a. Just I am telling one example, small example. Here enter another number, enter, and we are storing this in a b variable. I wanted to make these two numbers as c is equal to a plus b. A plus b. So here these are three set of instructions accepting two numbers and storing these values in a and b and adding those two numbers and storing the result in this c. Now print c. These are four instructions just to add two numbers by accepting from the user input. Okay. Now the translator, I'll tell you the difference between interpreter and this compiler. This interpreter, what will do here? This will convert this line to machine understandable language and immediately gives the input or output whatever is the instruction you are giving. That means it is executing line by line, and you will get the error if it is have, suppose if we miss here some double quotes here, it will give an error there itself. But whereas compiler will execute the entire program once, then only it will give the error messages or the output. That is the difference. Interpreters will execute a program line by line, but whereas compiler executes entire program at a time. That is a major difference between interpreter and compiler. Here basically what does this interpreter does here? First of all, it reads the instruction, then it verifies the syntax. Syntax means this is the syntax here. Input, enter a number within braces and double quotes. This is one syntax here. Like that here. The next step is that is translating, and then it is executing. These are the four steps it is going to perform. Okay, this is called here. This is called a source program, and the output what we are getting is a object program, or we can call it an executable program. Okay, so these are basics telling you before entering into our main course. I am telling you about what are the different types of languages? Languages are going to translate inside the computer by using interpreters and compilers, and then and so what I told you here, interpreters translates and executes programs line by line. This is the this is you need to remember this one. Interpreters always executes or translates the programs line by line. But whereas a compiler translates the whole program and executes. Okay, both are translators only. Both are translators only. You need to remember this. So this translates the whole program and executes it. So these compiler stores this translated code in a file. This file is called an executable file or a program. Okay, I'll show you one diagram like this. If I open here. See here, suppose we have written a program here. This is a set of instructions. It contains some instructions like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instructions it has. Okay. Now, this is written in one language. Here, in between, we have an interpreter here. This is called interpreter. Okay. And this will read the instructions and this will verify the syntax and this will translate and this will execute finally. This is the function of an interpreter. Okay, then it gives us the output. Okay, so here it executes line by line. First line reads it, and then again it goes to second instruction, third instruction. It reads each line. It reads separately here, and then it verifies the syntax of each line. Like that, each line by line it reads and it verifies the syntax. It translates and executes and gives the final output. Okay, so this is how the interpreter works. And here it translates each line, okay, at a time. But whereas the compiler translates entire set of instructions at a, that means whole program, and executes it. Okay, here we will have suppose if you take the same diagram again here, I'll show you the differences between this let us say this is a compiler. Here it reads the entire program, and again there is sorry, there is another, okay, here it creates an exe program here, exe. that stores in a file here, that stores in the disk. So here, after translating here in these steps here, after translating, here we have it stores, then only it executes the fifth step. But whereas here, each instruction is going to verify, read, verify, translate, and execute it immediately. But whereas here, it reads, verifies the syntax, and translates and stores it. As in here, it stores separately. Here it stores. Here it stores. Move on to this one here. Here it stores in this exe file in a disk, and it executes, and gives the output back to the output window. So it goes here and then again. Oh, from here to here again, we'll have it goes to this this output here. So this is how the difference between the compiler and interpreter. What are the differences between this compiler and interpreter here? Majorly, you need to remember these. These are the very important concepts. Here, interpreter. So let us say interpreter and compiler. The differences. First one is interpreter translates and executes line by line. You need to remember this thing. And then compiler translates the whole program. Okay, and executes it. Second one is it shows an error, one error at a time. But it has here, it shows all errors exist in the program. And third one is it requires translation before execution. Okay, but here it requires translation one time, because it is going to execute all set of instructions at a time. Okay, the fourth one is here this debugging. Here debugging means finding and fixing the errors is complex, because we have to verify each line here, but here debugging is easy. So these are the differences between interpreter and compilers. Understood this? Now coming to the examples of, as I told you, the examples are compiler languages are C language, C++ language. All these are compiler languages. And our Python is a interpreter language. Okay. And coming to what is a scripting language. A scripting language is one type of programming language. It is used for writing scripts. Scripts in the sense, like small set of programs, small programs. Okay, executes inside another program. So here examples are JavaScript, TypeScript, then PHP, Perl. All these are scripting languages. See, inside another program means, see, for example, if I open a browser here, I'm opening one browser. Let us say I'm opening here Microsoft.com. I'm just opening one website. See here, this is one web page, right? This is one web page. It contains some images and some headings, some logos, some text, and also some sliding here. It is good. It is moving this here, right? Moving like this. Here, when you see the source code of this file, so for example, if I wanted to see uh, where is this function, okay, see here. Here in the right hand side, are you able to see here? See this HTML. HTML is a one language, and it contains a header. Header contains some links here, some links, HTTP links, and again here some body. This contains some span script. All we will learn here. Inside this, we have a script here, script, right? One second, I'm going to.
How did you open this one? This F12?
Yes, yes. So here we have a scripting languages also inside here. Suppose here, if you expand this here, see here, window dot translate global device like this. This is a one type of here scripting language. That means, as I told you here, some small programs which executes inside another program. Basically, this is a HTML page. Entire is a HTML page. Inside that we have a scripting language that is called a scripting language. So majorly we will learn JavaScript to write our front end validation purpose in our full stack web application development. Okay, so that's why here I have just shown you one example here. Okay, see a script, it has some script here, and that means a major in the main program we have a small set of instructions. Again, this is called a scripting language that is in written in JavaScript. Okay, and then normal language means here, suppose here what is the general language, like high level language? As I told you, high level languages are nothing but here Python, Java, C++ and all. Okay, see, to write a, like, to write a simple, like I wanted to print a message like hello everyone, some message.
In scripting language, we'll also get shell scripting. Just for information, is it
Yeah,
different?
yeah, shell script also comes into this.
Okay.
That is written in, that is writing for the operating in the Unix environment. Okay, here suppose if you want to print this statement by using any of these high level language programs, suppose if you want to write the same program here in Java, we have to declare some uh, public void print some main, and then string some here array. So like this we have to follow this public. I must see here. Okay, now here instructions beginning and ending here, and system dot out dot print hello everyone and semicolon. Here again, here we have to import some libraries or include. I don't know about this Java. Okay, now here to print a single simple message, we have to write some set of at least 3 to 4 lines of code. But whereas in Python, we want to write the same. If you want to write the same program, you just need to print only hello everyone. That's it. The same thing. Suppose if you want to write the same program in C++, we have to include some libraries, that is input output libraries. Then you have to write a main and then follow these instructions like semicolon, dot. All these are syntax you have to follow. But whereas in Python, it's very easy to learn this. It is like a simple English language. And basically, these programming languages are following some paradigms. Okay, this defines a set of rules and regulations to write a program, basically these paradigms. So there are different types of paradigms. That is, one is procedural oriented programming language, procedural oriented programming, that is called POP. Second one is MOP, modular oriented programming, that is called MOP. And OOP, like object oriented programming, it is OOP, object oriented programming. And then next one is functional oriented programming. This is FOP. These are different types of paradigms or set of rules to write programs. In our Python, we used to have this object oriented programming. Everything in Python is treated as an object. Okay, that we will discuss in the next sessions. Now coming to why Python is so popular, I'll show you some here some slides here. Are you able to see my screen? The most popular language, I told you yesterday also. And then the history of Python, features of Python, applications of Python, who uses Python today, and Python editors, how to write programs using editors, and how many types of editors available, and how to install Python, and what are the interactive and scripting modes. Just a print function, as I told you just now. Okay, now we'll come to this. Yesterday I have shown you this one, right? Python is a popular programming language in the world. Okay, here when you compare to other languages, Java, C++, JavaScript, and then PHP, and then C Sharp, R language, Object C, Swift language, MATLAB, TypeScript language, Ruby language. See here, this is the popular language among all the other programming languages. Okay, and then Python is a high-level, interpreted, general-purpose programming language. This is a high-level language. That means that translates the instructions, like those are called like user-friendly language commands. Those are independent to the hardware architecture. As I told you, what is high-level language? A program is a much more user-friendly programming context and is generally independent of the computer's hardware architecture. Okay, and then it is interpreted language. It executes the program line by line, and it is a general purpose language that is used in variety of applications. Like it can be used for web development applications and also desktop applications, data science applications, machine learning, artificial intelligence. Okay, and in other many fields it is using nowadays. Okay, then who found this Python language? The founder is Godot van Rossum. He is the founder of Python. It was found in the year of 1989 and officially it was released February 20, 1991. And this language is mainly meant for better readability. Okay, and this is about a little history about this Python language that was found by, he is the founder, Guido van Rossum. And the versions, it started from here, now we are using Python version 3.11. So if you want to check it here in this, 1 second, I'll off this. Okay, now python.org. Here, this is the python.org is the website to download our Python software. So when you go to downloads here, when you see this here, here version is download for Windows Python 3.12. 3.12 is the latest version now. 3 months back, it was 3.11. Now it is released. Latest version is 3.12. Okay. Now the features of Python. These are the different features. Like it is easy to write and it is easy to read and it is easy to learn. It is like a simple English language. And it is free and open source. You need not to purchase that software. So you can directly download that software and install it in your machine. It may be a laptop or it may be a desktop or it may be a mobile. Mobile also. In mobile also you can work. In tab also you can work. Okay, and it is an interpreted language, I told you, and it supports the portability means here we can easily move a program written in Python from one operating system to the other operating system. That is called portability. And it supports modularity means we can divide the complex big programs into module wise sub programs. That is called modularity. And it has a lot of libraries. You need not to, suppose if you want to write a calendar, like if you want to display the current date using other language like Java or C++, you have to write a big program. But whereas in Python, if you want to display the calendar of this month, you need to just import a library, date time library. Simple, it is very simple because already so many libraries are there. Just you need to import, you need to just use it for your requirement, as per your requirement. So it has extensive libraries and it is a dynamic type library, dynamic type language. That means in any other languages, before using a variable, suppose if I wanted to here, see, suppose I have written a program here like here a. So in other languages, here you have to declare this variable integer a is equal to 0, initialize it, semicolon, integer b is equal to 0, integer c is equal to 0. See here how many instructions we have to follow. This is called static language. We have to define each variable, what type of variable it is. It is an integer or a string or a character or a date time or a boolean. There are different types of data. Okay. In this Python, you need not to declare like this. This is dynamically. If you assign a is equal to 0, automatically this a becomes integer type. This is called dynamic type language. Suppose if you assign s is equal to some hello, one string here, automatically Python will understand s is a string type of data. So that is called dynamic type language. A dynamic type system. Python is a dynamic type system. This is one of the feature. And automatic memory management. That means if you declare and use some variables in your program, you need not to deallocate the memory. See, once you write a program to store these instructions, you need a memory in the computer. it allocates some memory for each variable. After completion of your program, you have to deallocate the memory from the RAM or from the memory. But whereas in Python, you need not to deallocate the memory explicitly. ఎక్స్టర్నల్ గా మనం ఏం సపరేట్ గా మనం ప్రోగ్రామ్ రాసి దాన్ని మెమరీ డిఅలోకేట్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదనమాట. ఆటోమేటికలీ ఇట్ మేనేజెస్ దట్ మెమరీ మేనేజ్మెంట్. సో దట్ ఈస్ వన్ ఫీచర్ ఆఫ్ Python. And it supports third party packages. As I told you, there are so many packages available. And it is object oriented programming. So everything in Python is treated as an object. That is object oriented programming language that we will discuss in the coming sessions. Okay. Now, applications of Python. This can be used to develop web applications, web development using Django, Flask, and Fast API. These are different libraries. And data science applications. We can use Pandas, NumPy, SciPy. All these are the different libraries that we can develop data science applications using this Python. And machine learning applications. Using these libraries, we can develop easily. You need not to develop these libraries separately. Already those are developed by some other people. You just need to reuse that libraries and solve your problems. And data visualization, like suppose if you want to display some graphs and charts, so we have different libraries: Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly. All these are different types of visualization libraries. And web scraping purpose. Web scraping is nothing but collecting the data from websites. So we can use these libraries: Request, Scrappy, Beautiful Soup, and all. And to develop graphical user interface applications, we can use Tickner. These are different libraries. And game development, we can use these libraries. And image processing, these are the libraries we can use. So these are the different applications which we can develop by using Python language. Okay. Now coming to here, who uses Python today? These big organizations like Google makes extensive use of Python in its web search engine. So entire this, Google, when you type this google.com, here this search engine internally used this Python language. And also Intel, Cisco, HP, Seagate, Qualcomm, and IBM uses for hardware testing purpose this Python. Okay. And big organization like ESRI, this is for GIS mapping applications. This is a popular organization in US which develops this geographical information system mapping products. And YouTube is also using this Python language. So these are the different applications. That means the organizations which they are using Python. Okay. So we'll continue the next topics in the next session tomorrow. Please join. And do you have any doubts in today's session? That we have discussed about different concepts, that is what is a language, types of languages, and translators. Those are compilers, interpreters. And then scripting language, what is a scripting language, types of scripting languages. And then programming paradigms, a set of rules to execute the programs, procedural oriented programming and object oriented programming. And the types of languages, these are the low level language like assembly language, mission language. And then high level languages like C language, Java language. All those are high level languages. And what is the purpose of these interpreter and compilers and differences between them. And these interpreters executes the instructions line by line, but whereas compiler executes the whole program at a time. These are the differences. Do you have any doubts in today's session, please?